Ever get a bad rap from your mommy? Ever feel like the world is against you and you're just trying to raise a family? Does your ghoul friend's family not get your humor when you're just trying to raise their spirits? Grab your shovels and follow me as we dig deep into the macabre, the darkest corners of the arcane, guaranteed to give even your grandma heart palpitations. So you want to be a necromancer, do you? Well, your mama raised you right. As I go through this necromancy series, I'm going to break down what it is, spells needed, classes you can be or should be, some feats for your build, and even go over some specific gear and why. So necromancy is a school of magic based on constitutional debuffs, fear, death effects, and animate corpses of the fallen. But a necromancer is someone who embraces the school for all it's worth. Now, you can scratch the surface and stick to cursing goblins and casting power word kill on kobolds. Or you can do my kind of necromancy. Delve deep into the well and surround yourself with whispers of the fallen and gnashing of the dead. First, spells. The main spells we will be working with are spells like Animate Dead. Now, Animate Dead has a little brother. You get 2 levels earlier, but it only works on 1 undead at a time. Still not bad. I guess you get your feet wet, or you can test your party for the idea of necromancy. Animate Dead lets you turn a corpse into an undead skeleton or zombie, enthralled to you, and will obey your every command. It's a bit pricey though. At 25 gold worth of onyx gem per hit dice of the monster you're raising. Though, as we go on, it's probably going to feel like one of the cheaper options, honestly. You may as well buy these gems in barrels because we're going to need them. Per casting, you can raise in a number of hit die twice your caster level. That's right, caster level. We'll make this work for us later. You can control, though, as many as 4 hit dice per caster level that you have. Exceeding this number will force you to release older undead, but you get to choose whichever ones it is. Now this spell keeps the undead under your control indefinitely. You can double the amount of undead you can create in a single casting with the spell in a desecrated area. Doing so will also give your minions an extra 1 HP per hit die. If it has got a permanent altar or shrine, that HP doubles. Now you can create either a skeleton or a zombie, providing the corpse is mostly intact. A skeleton creature must have bones, a zombie must have some flesh on him. Also, the ability to follow commands is limited to things like go, find, stand, kill that kind of stuff. Skeletons retain their previous subtype, but gain the undead type. They have DR5 bludgeoning and cold immunity. If the base creature had wings, it can't fly anymore. If it could fly through magical means, well, it can still fly. It changes all hit dice to D8s, and you drop all hit dice gained from classes. It keeps all proficiencies and natural attacks of the base creature. It keeps no special attacks, has 3/4 base attack bonus, and has lost all skill ranks and feats, only gaining improved initiative as a bonus feat. It keeps extraordinary abilities to its ranged and melee attacks. Skeletons gain extra natural AC depending on their size. Its dex gets a +2. Its intelligence goes away entirely. Wisdom and charisma go to a flat 10. Now, zombies works much the same way, only you get a -2 dex and a +2 to your strength stats. Instead of improved initiative, they gain toughness, and additional hit dice depending on size. Their damage reduction is 5, slashing. Base zombies also have staggered, so they perform only 1 single move action or standard action each round, though they can still technically charge. Now there are variant subtypes to these two, and maybe what you want instead. All still created by the Animate Dead spell. Bloody Skeleton will cost you 2 times the hit dice to raise these guys. That's 10 hit dice for a 5 hit die skeleton. But these gore-infused negative energy-loving, blood-coated guys reform and heal themselves. They gain fast healing 1 per 2 hit dice. They have channel resistance +4 to fight off those nasty clerics. Have a charisma of 14 this time, so higher than most of my characters really, and they gain the Deathless special quality. Deathless means if destroyed, it returns to unlife 1 hour later with 1 HP, where fast healing takes over. Positive energy is needed to destroy them for good in either a blessed location, hollow spell area, or if holy water is poured over them after they are defeated. Burning skeletons are something to send pure horror into villages. These also cost 2 times the hit dice to raise. They get immunity to fire, see why, lose their cold immunity, and are instead vulnerable to cold. Its charisma is 12. It gains a fiery aura, burning all adjacent for 1d6 points of damage at the start of the turn, granting an extra 1d6 fire on natural attacks and other melee attacks. Also, on their death, they blow up, hitting any adjacent with 1d6 fire per 2 hit dice, with a reflex of DC 10 plus 1/2 their hit dice, plus their charisma bonus. Not saying I like to use a whole bunch of flaming rats for cheap for extra 1d6 damage against my party, but you can't ask them anyway. Now, zombies bring you some real nightmares. Ever hope that if there's a zombie apocalypse, that it's a slow, kind of Walking Dead type? Well, too bad. Fast zombie variants give you an extra 10 feet movement speed. Their dex goes up by 2 instead of down. They do not have the staggered condition and gain quick strikes, so a full attack action lets them make another attack, almost like they're naturally hasted. Remember, cardio, cardio, cardio. Now for plague zombies. These infectious little guys are like normal, save when they die, they burst disease to all adjacent. What is disease, you ask? Well, when it dies, or when it slam attack or natural attack hits, the recipient has to roll a DC 10, half hit dice plus charisma modifier, or be infected by zombie rot. Onset 1d4 days, saves once a day with 1d2 con damage. It can't be healed unless you are cured of the zombie rot first. 2 consecutive saves cures you, but anyone who dies while infected rises in 2d6 hours as another zombie for free. I would suggest with a remote village for starters, will let you get less ire as you start your undead marching horde. Also, the best part, neither of these zombies cost an increase in hit dice when raising them by raw, so go infect the countryside. Now, that is Animate Dead. If you have a creative and enabling GM, there are some 3.5 rules that you could port over to make other types of zombies, but another time maybe. Now, if we have our foot soldiers, let's create our lieutenants. You're going to have to be 11 or 12, depending on your class, but you will get Create Undead. See, this is going to cost you 50 gold of onyx per hit dice, but allow you to infuse a dead body with energy to create ghouls, ghast, mummies, morgues. It also must be cast at night. There is also a Create Greater Undead at 8th level, spell that works the exact same, that you get access to more powerful undead. These undead are much more intelligent, dangerous, and not under your control. Yet. As you create them, you may attempt to command undead as it forms. There are 2 ways that you can command undead. Either as a spell, 2nd level, or as the bonus feat Command Undead that gives you channel negative energy, like a cleric, but you only get to use it to enslave undead. Either one of these will do, but though they work a little different. Both can be used to wrestle away another necromancer's thrall. Non-intelligent undead under these abilities work the same as before, with only being able to follow small commands due to their lack of intelligence. The feat Command Undead is going to have a DC based on your charisma. Intelligent undead also get a new save each day to resist. That can be bothersome and gives them more often chances to succeed. Also, make sure that you don't have them in any type of circle or anything that gives them a bonus when they get to make that save to whatever ability they're using. Command Undead. This spell is going to be a will save. Yeah. So it's from your caster level. Feats and such are going to apply. So if you are not high in charisma, this may be the path for you. You'll have to win opposed charisma checks to get them to do things they wouldn't ordinarily do. Though sometimes that's going to be few and far between. That will kind of be up to your GM and how much he doesn't like necromancers. The spell, though, lasts for 1 day, a level. This could mean you could give them elaborate commands, leave them to it for a few days, come back, refresh the spell, whatever. You will need to look at your build and decide what saves are going to be made and what stats you're going to have in order to decide how you're going to control your undead, though. Man, being a necromancer is kind of a lot of work. Well, I guess we will put in the time now and rest at the top later. While these are the most well-known ways to create undead, I have a few more that we're going to go over. And while these could have more thematic effect, you are wanting, most of the time we will be using the various spells I listed previously and consider them the basis for what we will use. But if you need something else to fill your spell book, here we go. 7th level spell, Create Variant Mummy. This works just like Create Undead spell. You only have to steep the corpse in a bog for a day for some reason. I don't know. These undead can either be mummies, bog mummies, ice mummies, odd, or Assyrian tomb guardians. Everything else is the same. You don't get to control of them. You have to use control undead, all that. There's also a 9th level spell that's very much more Egyptian called Canopic Conversion. So you need 100 gold per hit dice this time. And you need 4 alabaster jars, 100 gold each. You cast this on a living humanoid this time. Takes a round to cast, but you could even have the BBEG cast this on a party member. This spell does 1d6 damage at caster level, max of 20d6. If the creature dies, its organs are pulled from its body, shoved into the jars where they're sealed up. 1d4 rounds later, the now dead person revives as a mummy. If they had 8 hit dice, and if they have 9 or more hit dice, they're an advanced mummy. Once again, they're not under your control, but the jars let you communicate it regardless of any language barriers previously. You gain protection from evil and sanctuary against that specific mummy because of the jars. You can open a jar and issue a suggestion, just like the spell, with a DC of 23. You can use a 10-minute ritual, unseal all of the jars, and put it under the effect of a gaze spell, DC 23. While this may not be permanent enthrallment, you can still command undead, bargain it for their freedom, or use it to turn you and or your party members into mummies. Though, technically, you could turn members into undead earlier with Create Undead, I guess. Flesh Puppet. It's a 3rd level spell, kinda nice. This spell takes a corpse no more than 2 days old, turns it into a zombie that is tethered to you. It works like Animate Undead when it comes to max created, how many hit dice you can have at one time. The zombie is not staggered at this time. You control it mentally with a swift action. It can speak on your command and can do some of the things it did in normal life, but it cannot cast spells or attack anything. It looks like it did when it was alive. A perception check can tell if it was a zombie, if it's high enough, and they can also see a string. The string is attached to you and has a limit on how far you can be away from it before it breaks. Someone can also technically attack the string if they can find it. But when it breaks, or if the spell ends, corpse turns into a corpse again. There's a horde version which allows you to animate multiple at a time. Unlike the lesser version, this still requires a swift action to command, but you can command a horde at a time instead of just one. You can command them to attack with this version, but if you do, they all turn into normal zombies. They all gain back that staggered condition, and they do not revert back to this ability to talk or anything. They lose their illusion, I guess. Now, you know everything you need to get started. The spells to create your army. And if you stick around for the next videos, I will be covering other necessary spells for the Undead Master, feats, races, items, and I'll even be putting my own build for a true lord of the Undead Horde. If you like this video, check out my others. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, If you have any tips or requests, drop them in the comments below. And until next time, may your crits be epic, your adventures legendary, and your gaming table filled with laughter.